Yeah. I'd like to welcome everybody to my podcast. Thank you. I am your gracious host, Jupiter 9. And in today's podcast, guys, I want to talk about the story of um Shanquella Robinson. I think that's her name. I think that me talking about this story of what happened to her in Cabo, Mexico, that it will uh, be something that people can learn from. You know what I mean? Because you know, uh, there are a lot of people who don't want to see people win. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are jealous of successful people. Prime example, Jay-Z. Look how much hate Jay-Z gets for just being a successful so-called black man. You know what I mean? And people, hate that. People hate his success. A lot of people hate the fact that you came from the same environment they came from, and you decide to, take your dreams and ambitions in life and pursue them and never give up. So you got a lot of people who will hate on those type of things, hate on people who are successful, who are getting money, you know what I'm saying, or who are very attractive. You know what I mean? A lot of times you don't know why people hate on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can be the smallest little thing, but I think there's a life lesson in her story and what happened to her. You know what I mean? She put some trust in some people that she called friends. You know what I'm saying? She thought that were her friends. And let me tell you something, man. In this day and age that we live in today, not everybody is your friend. You know what I'm saying? And I was just talking to my queen about this a couple days ago. A lot of times people want to get near you or get close to you just so they can destroy you. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's in, with family, or whether it's within relationships, you're thinking you're getting into a relationship with somebody, for all the right and positive aspects of being in a relationship, and a lot of times that other person don't even like you. Real stuff. Like, they don't even like you. So, a lot of times people just want to get near you so they can absolutely break you down, absolutely destroy you, you know what I'm saying, and bring you down to their level, which is at the bottom. And if they see you vibrating at a high level and they're down at the bottom, they're going to try their best to bring you right along with them. And you see it all the time in relationships, definitely in relationships. A lot of times the relationships women get into with men, a lot of times the man that she's with is jealous of her, whether it's because she's more intelligent than her, or she's making more money than him. It can be the smallest thing, and that guy will have an issue with that and try everything in his power to break you down mentally or physically or both, and bring you down to his level. You know what I mean? That's why you have to be very careful and very mindful on who you call friends, who you call your man or woman. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be getting in situations to where, the person you're dealing with is getting close to you all for the wrong reasons. And it's not to be a lot of times it's not to be in a long-term situation with you. It's just so they see the light in you and they want to dim your light. I mean, and this is what happened with, Shanquella Robinson. You know what I'm saying? She went to Mexico, Cabo, Mexico. Know what I mean? And she went with a group of friends, thinking these friends were down for her. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time, she's planning her trip, they're planning to set her up and destroy her. And this is what I mean. You have to be careful on who you call friends. And it's a very, very, very sad story because she was an up and coming, content creator. She was doing hair, she was doing her thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was getting ready to be big. As far as like the internet, you know what I'm saying? With the growth of the internet, and so many content creators are coming into the space and making a living from it. She was on her way up, and she had a group of friends she thought that were down for her, and they were jealous of her the whole time. They plotting the whole time. A lot of people are not here living because of people they so-called friends, or people they call their girlfriend, or you know what I mean. You got to be very careful when you are somebody who's successful and you got money, and when people know you got money, you have to be very, very careful. You know what I mean? Because people could be plotting to set you up. You know what I'm saying? That's why you can't really trust everybody, letting everybody know that you got it like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of keep that on the hush hush. And for the life of me, I don't understand why people have to put all their business out on Front Street on the internet and let everybody know that you getting money, or you got money, or I know a lot of cats be fronting, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to that. But a lot of people losing their life because doing silly stuff like that and not taking the time to think before they make moves or make an action. You got to think, and people today don't think. People want to be seen. People want to be what's it called? People want that glamour. They want the spotlight. They want the glamour. They want to be superstars. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of entertainers get into contracts and stuff like that without even reading the contract. They just want to be seen. Like, but I don't want to stray away from this podcast episode on Shanquella Robinson, because I think, like, again, her story, there's a life lesson in that. You know what I'm saying? So not only that, but the U.S. authorities will not seek charges in the death of Shanquella Robinson in Mexico. That's surprising, because I've seen the video that everybody's seen on Twitter, and from what I seen, you know what I'm saying, it looked like Shanquella was losing a fight. She was getting the beat down from her friend, and allegedly, not only did her friend put hands and feet on her, but other people around her that were supposed to be her friends, they basically all allegedly jumped in and had something to do with her demise, man. You know what I'm saying? And these are people that were supposed to be her friends, and she's no longer here because of hate. It's sad. It's a sad story, and it's something that could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. If she would have took the time to analyze. See, people don't analyze people, man. You know what I mean? People just don't analyze people. You gotta fill out people. You gotta analyze what's in front of you. And a lot of people do that in relationships too. They don't analyze anything. You know what I'm saying? They just, a guy comes up to a woman and he gets to talking to her, and he talks all that stuff she want to hear, and before you know it, he's moving in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? She never took the time to figure out what his birthday was, if he got a criminal record. You know what I'm saying? She never analyzed what he's wearing in front of her the first day that he met her. And then he come to find out the guy they with is a Looney Tune, and he's abusive, and he's an alcoholic, or he's a drug addict. And people get into situations, relationships, they rush into them way too fast, man. Way too fast. And they get sexually active with people way too fast. People just sleeping with whoever, and you know what I'm saying, and just not taking the time out to analyze that person. And the men too, they be doing dumb stuff too, you know what I'm saying? They get with a chick just because she looked good, you know what I'm saying? And then she end up pregnant, and then he's crying about how, she is just making his life hell, being his baby mother, and she's making his life hell. She got him on child support and this, that, and the third. Well, you never took the time out to actually figure out who you were dealing with. You just seen somebody who looked good, and you wanted to tap that, and now you paying the price for not analyzing who's in front of you. And a lot of people do that. They don't analyze who's in front of them. Never. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he looked good, or oh, she looked good, or the woman go, oh, he got money and nice car, and that's all it takes today. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's taking the time out to figure out who they're dealing with, and same goes with friendships. You know what I'm saying? You can't be calling everybody your friend. That's real. Not everybody's your friend. Know what I mean? Like people will pretend in front like they like you when they're in front of you, but as soon as you hit that door, or as soon as you hit that corner, they talking crazy about you. Behind closed doors. So that whole thing of, now, don't get me wrong, like, there are some people who are genuine out there. You know what I mean? This is not everybody. Of course not. Of course it's not everybody. It's not everybody. Of course not. But the majority today, you're dealing with a lot of people who are selfish. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a lot of people who want to, they'll rather take your life than to see you win. That's real. You know what I'm saying? That's real. And that is sad. That is sad. A lot of these young people who are, losing their life, these are for future millionaires, you know what I'm saying, that can possibly do something to change the world, possible millionaires and billionaires, just like the one young man who lost his life. He was on TikTok. He was becoming a TikTok sensation, and I think his name was Swavy. Yeah, Swavy or something like that. And what he did was he would go on TikTok and he would make like dance videos, you know what I'm saying? He would go in like different areas of where he lived. He would go to the airport and just break out a dance, you know what I'm saying? And then he would go to like the gas station and just start dancing. Now, I mean, that was his thing. Like, he really liked to dance. So he ended up, he started getting momentum. I think he ended up with like almost 1 million followers or something like that on TikTok. And his whole dreams and aspirations was to be famous and get a lot of money so he can help his moms out. You know what I'm saying? So, he lost his life, a year and a half ago or something like that. Last year, at the beginning of last year, somebody took his life for no reason. Like, what I've read in articles and all that, he didn't have no enemies, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just somebody who inspired to do something with his life other than the streets. So they decided to, I guess, him and a friend stopped to get some gas at a gas station, if I can remember, and somebody pulled up alongside the vehicle, and he was sitting in the passenger seat. I'm not sure if he was sitting in the passenger seat or if he was sitting outside the vehicle, but anyway, somebody pulled up and pulled up and started shooting him, and he dropped and from the bullets, and he's no longer here. Another great, possibly great mind, another millionaire, billionaire taken off the planet. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody's son, that's somebody, brother, for no reason though. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in no gang or nothing like that, to my understanding. He wasn't playing in the streets, playing around in that street nonsense. He wasn't a drug dealer. He wasn't even a what they call a drill rapper. He didn't do none of that. He just danced. You know what I'm saying? He said he liked making people smile, because he knew that his dancing on TikTok would brighten up people's day. So he liked making people laugh and smile, but he's no longer here. And it's sad, you know what I'm saying? It's sad that people will hate on you that much that they want to take you off this planet because you're winning. You know what I'm saying? You're winning, or you are attractive, or you're with somebody they want. Like it's just ridiculous. There's too many people on the planet to be jealous of someone that you're dating. You know what I mean? If you're not up to par like that person, as far as look wise, man, step your game up. What you mean? Step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Change the way you look. You know what I'm saying? If you overweight, lose weight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do things to make yourself more attractive to people instead of thinking that you got to take somebody's life that don't deserve it. And this is the case of Shanquella Robinson, man. You know what I'm saying? It's very tragic. It's a very tragic story. I believe that this is just my opinion, man. Is that they, like I said, this was plotted from the jump. You know what I mean? It was plotted from the jump. You know what I'm saying? They never really had love for her. She didn't know that. She was blinded by, I got a group of friends that's down for me or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm understanding that she paid for the whole trip. You know what I mean? These some bums. These are a bunch of bums, man. You know what I mean? These are a bunch of bums, and they took someone's life that didn't deserve it, man. You know what I'm saying? The way they beat that young lady down to the ground like that. I mean, the friend that was fighting her, she was, you know what I'm saying, twice her size. Twice her size. And the way, okay, I see a situation to where you get into a fight with somebody, you know what I'm saying? But if that person win, you know what I mean, is winning and won the fight, shouldn't the fight end? Why does it got to go all the way to what happened to her, to the point to where you got a body slammer on her neck and break her neck? Like, why do I have to go that far with it? You obviously was winning the fight, you know what I mean? Like, Shanquella didn't have a chance. What I'm understanding from her is that she wasn't a fighter. She wasn't a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Some people are just not fighters. They're not with fighting. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to fight. And, some people just want to be friendly. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. And once you've seen that you won, shouldn't one of those supposed friends, broke that fight up so it don't go that far? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got the man who's supposed to be a young man, just standing there letting her friend just pound her down to the ground, and he's just standing there recording. And that's another thing too that irks me about people today. Everybody want to pull out cameras, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to do something all the time. I mean, it's cool and all that you getting evidence, but come on, man. Like, you see something going down, you know what I'm saying? Or see a elderly person purse get snatched, people pulling out cameras instead of, you know what I'm saying, trying to stop the situation or help her. Everybody want to pull out cameras all the time, you know what I'm saying? In a lot of situations, that's not needed. You know what I mean? That's not needed. Obviously, it didn't. Pulling out cameras is not always something that's going to be beneficial. Look, they had the whole fight on camera, and still, U.S. authorities will not seek charges in the death of Shanquella Robinson. So why are we always pulling out cameras every time we see a situation that's going on out in public? Like, that's not going to be the end all the time when you pull out a camera. A lot of times you can't even use that evidence in court if you have to go to court. A lot of that camera evidence can't even be used a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? So that camera stuff for certain situations it's a waste of time. You know what I mean? And people are just too quick to pull out cameras about everything. It's just silly to me. Every situation that you see, every thing that goes on in the world, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's pulling out a camera, or people putting all their business out on the internet. I still don't understand that. You gotta put all your business out on Front Street, you know what I'm saying? this internet, it could be a gift and a curse. Like I say all the time, it could be a gift and a curse. And, a lot of people use it for the curse side of it instead of using it for the gift side, man. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna read this article about them not seeking any charges. That's wild to me. Like they got, you know what I'm saying? The the fight and all that on recorded, and so I'm gonna read this, man. U.S. federal prosecutors will not pursue charges in the death of a North Carolina woman who died after being beaten in a hotel room while vacationing in Cabo, Mexico, reports said Wednesday. Department of Justice prosecutors meet with the family of Shanquella Robinson and told them that after careful deliberation, they determined there was not enough evidence to seek charges in that case. As in every case under consideration for federal prosecution, the government must provide beyond a reasonable doubt that a federal crime was committed. Federal prosecutor in North Carolina said, according to the local reports, based on the results of the autopsy and after a careful deliberation and review of the investigative materials by both U.S. Attorney Office, federal prosecutor informed Ms. Robinson's family today that the available evidence does not support a federal prosecution, they added. Robinson, 25, found in a hotel room in the Mexico resort city in October of last year. The clothing designer had traveled to Cabo St. Lucas for vacation with 6 friends, and her death was originally thought to be related to alcohol poisoning. Yeah, I remember that. Them saying it was alcohol poisoning. You know what I'm saying? And she designed clothes. So she did hair. She designed clothes. And man, that's just a sad. This is just a sad thing, man. Let me see what else does it say. Federal prosecutors will reportedly not pursue charges related to the death of Shanquella Robinson, the North Carolina woman who died while on vacation in Mexico last year. Very sad, man. She had a beautiful funeral, man. Her casket was like pink and all different colors. It was just beautiful. She had a very, very nice going home funeral, man. But the whole situation could have been avoided if she took time out to analyze who she called friends. You know what I mean? Because it could be deadly. It could be deadly. Sorry, I hit the button, guys, but it can be deadly. You know what I'm saying? It can be deadly, man. And like I said, that's just terrible, man. And they're not gonna press charges. I mean, I don't understand how can they not press charges with this whole thing. Unless the friends that she was with had some type of connections. I don't know, or maybe because it happened in Mexico. I don't know why they're not gonna pursue any seek charges. It's just, to me, it's straightforward. Close shut and throw away the key. But sad thing. R.I.P. to the Queen, man. Like, know what I mean? R.I.P. to her. My condolences go out to her family. And another thing I don't like about the internet, when stories like this happen, people jump on the story just to get views. And I really don't like that about the internet too, man. Something that tragic that happens like this, people are so quick to throw up a video, you know what I mean, or throw up anything that's going on with this story before they find out all the evidence that comes out. And I seen that happen. If I can remember, this was back in October, so I just remember like mad people just putting up videos and didn't even know the whole story of what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I try to not jump on situations that are just straight brand new like that. I try to if I do talk about something, I do try to give it time to, for all the evidence and the details to come out. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll be able to make a show that, has all the evidence, but a lot of times people just do stuff to give, like I said, to get views, and it's just sad, man. But people, just be careful who you deal with, man. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody likes you. You'd be surprised on how many people actually hate you. You know what I mean? Whether it's family, whether it's friends, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be careful on who you call friends. Be careful on who you call family, even blood. You know what I mean? If somebody don't have great intentions for you, or not trying to motivate you on whatever you're trying to accomplish in life, if they're not trying to support that, I don't care if it's family, I don't care if it's friends, I don't care if it's the president, you know what I'm saying? Yo, you let them go, you cut them off. And that's the thing too, like, a lot of times we keep these type of people around us because they're family, they're blood. Man, if somebody don't have love for you, or somebody not trying to support your goals, what you're trying to do, or whatever, they're not trying to support you, man, cut that off, because you don't want that type of energy around you. You don't want that type of negative energy around you. You don't want that type of person around you. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna keep you down. And if somebody don't have love for you, yo, you gotta let that go, man. For real, you gotta let that go. But the Shanquella Robinson situation, again, man, it's sad, and it's sad that guy, the young man, just stood there and let her just pound her to the ground like that, and just didn't try to break it up, And I got a story, man, before I get off of this. You know what I'm saying? And so this is kind of goes along with that, sort of, but not really. But you know how you had the young man in the video of the Shanquella Robinson situation just stand there, and back in my day, somebody would have broke that up. If you're a man, if you've seen that, and somebody got the upper hand, definitely if it's a woman, you were breaking that up, because you didn't want that to go further to where, not only did somebody could possibly lose their life, but somebody can be in jail for the rest of their life. So it'd be 2 lives lost. You know what I'm saying? So back in my era, and coming up in the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm saying, a man would not let a woman just pound someone to the ground like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying this to tie it into what I'm getting ready to say. So boom, a couple of days ago, I was helping out my stepdaughter, and she needed help, carrying her furniture to her apartment. Now, I'm from the old school, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of men today don't, do the things that men of the past used to do. Like, for me, I'm from the old school. Women not supposed to be carrying heavy shit, you know what I'm saying? So I told them that I would, it was like 2 pieces of living room furniture, a couch, and a love seat, and all that good stuff. So I told them I'm going to carry it upstairs, because she lives in the upstairs apartment. So I got the first one up by myself, no problem. I was able to get it to stick between the railings, and I was able to push it way up the steps without even carrying it up the steps. It worked perfectly. So all I had to do was just muscle it, like push it, you know what I'm saying? Like how you go to when you in football and you have those what do you call them, those dummies you have to push around on the field. I forgot what they're called, because I played 1 year of football. So I was able to push it up there easily, first one. So boom, the second one I kind of got winded because I'm not in the best shape right now. Now I mean I'm out of shape, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get back in the swing of that too. Me and my queen, we go walking a couple times a week, 3 times a week, going probably boost it up to 4, but I don't have to win, you know what I'm saying? The strength is still there, but I don't have to win. Like, I used to be like a gym rat, you know what I mean? I used to go to the gym all the time. Not all the time. I actually only went to the gym like 3 times a week, know what I'm saying? But I got great results because I used to do just like I used to go 3 times a week, full body, every other day. You know what I'm saying? Just 3 times. You know what I mean? Because the most important part people don't think is the rest. You know what I'm saying? Rest and what you eat. So I was still able to get in good shape like that. You know what I mean? I didn't have to spend a lot of time in the gym. I'm the type of person that like, it don't take me much to get in shape. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I really buckle down and start working out, throwing the weights around and all that, it don't take much to, you know, get back in shape. So, I don't know about now that I'm a little bit older. I'm 45 now, so it might be a little bit tougher, but but back to my story. So, mind you, now before I started trying to figure out how to get that first couch up, there were men walking, seeing me with the couch. Now, mind you, I'm not looking for no help. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna have the women around me like my lady and her daughter helping with the couch. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I believe in women not carrying heavy stuff, so I'm not gonna have them. I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get up the steps. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna get it up the steps. So, but there was men. There was one guy who was like, "You the only one doing it by yourself." He came out of his apartment or whatever. A lot of people were just coming out to be nosy. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. He never offered. That was the first guy who seen it. Second guy was coming with his lady, getting out the vehicle, and he said nothing. You know what I'm saying? He see that I was carrying a couch. He said absolutely nothing. Nobody offered to help. Now, mind you, all right, this young lady offered to help. Okay, do you hear me? This young lady offered him help. Once I got that first couch off the steps and pushed, I didn't have too much trouble with the first one because it fit right between the railings and I was able just to push it straight up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have to carry it up. It worked perfectly. So I got to the top of the steps and she's like, "Do you need some help?" I'm like, "No. I'm good. Whatever, I could have been more courteous about it, but I was trying to get this stuff up because she has a bunch of steps. You know what I'm saying? I was starting to get winded. Not one man offered. Now, mind you, the one that offered, her man didn't even offer. So what does that tell you about him? You gonna allow your woman to help carry that up? I'm not gonna allow her to help me carry that couch. You know what I'm saying? But what about your man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not one man offered. Out of the 3 men that seen, actually 4 men that seen me out there with those couches, not one offered. But out of all those men that was out there, it was only one lady, one young lady out there, and she offered. Now, what does that tell you about a lot of men today, man? Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what kind of backward stuff is this? You got this dude out here, you got this dude watching. You know what I'm saying? And none of them offered. None of them. And that's the mindset of a lot of men today, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the mindset of a lot of men today. They're sorry. They're sorry. They're not the men of the past, what I'm used to. You know what I mean? They're not the men of the past. Like, men back in the day would have offered. You know what I mean? It's just weird to me, man. The way a lot of men think, it's backwards. Like the men think like the women, and a lot of women think like the men because they have to think like the men because the men are not being men. And it's just weird to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? That whole backwards thinking is just like a lot of men who let their women go out and work every day. You know what I mean? While they sit up and play video games all day at home and that's it. You know what I mean? They don't do nothing else. It's just like, I'll be seeing crazy stuff like this too. Like, I'll see you know what I mean? Like, listen, when my queen, if I see her leaving out the house, I'm following her out the door and I'm opening the door for her and I'm closing the door every time, right? I pull out her chair, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I open her door, all that, you know what I'm saying? And she don't pump no gas. You know what I mean? And she don't take out no trash. You know what I'm saying? I keep her vehicle clean. That type of stuff a man is supposed to do: take out the trash, keep her vehicle clean, pump her gas, just to open the door. You know what I mean. I follow her when she get ready to leave the house. If she going to go somewhere like to the store or something, follow her out to her car, and I follow her back in, because it only takes 10 seconds for somebody to snap somebody up. Know what I mean? So, these are the things I do on a regular. It's just natural for me. You know what I'm saying? But I be seeing, like, young ladies pumping gas, and then their boyfriend be sitting in the vehicle. I'm like, huh? Where do you do that at? It's just different. It's just different, man. I'll be like, it be blowing my mind, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I come up in a different era. My grandpops, man, he did not play about his daughters. Like, you know what I mean? He made sure they know how to, shoot, and they all had firearms, and they knew how to protect themselves. And it's just, I just don't get it, man. It's just weird. It's just weird. It's just weird. And another thing too, she don't pick up no grocery bags. I take in the groceries, take out the trash, all that stuff a man's supposed to do. When I first moved in, you know what I'm saying, with her, there's no negotiations when it comes to rent. I don't care if you make more than me. You know what I'm saying? A man pays the rent, period. And at first she was like, well, we can split. And I was like, we can split half or whatever. And I'm like, nah, I'll pay the rent. That's it. There's no negotiating that. I pay the rent. You know what I'm saying? It's been like that ever since I moved in. But, these are different, man. These are different. I don't know what's going on. You can make the excuse that, the fathers are not in the home. And yes, to a certain extent, now, I mean, that could possibly be it, but my pops dipped out on me when I was a newborn, you know what I'm saying? So all that, your pops being in the home and all that. Now, mind you, I did have a strong male foundation with my grandpops and my uncles, you know what I mean? I did have, positive role models male-wise to look up to coming up. But my uncles, they were around, but they weren't always around, like, you know what I'm saying? So, that my pops not being in the household, yes, that could be the case with some kids, but not all of them, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? The difference is the community. The community don't step up when these kids be wilding out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, the community used to take care of the kids. They act up. The community would do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, before, when I was coming up, if you did something wrong, you were getting whoopings from, guys in the neighborhood, and then your uncles will find out, you get another whooping, and then Mom Dukes will find out, and then you get another. You got 3 or 4 whoopings before you even get to Mom's, and the elderly neighbors next door are going to rat on you like it wasn't it wasn't like the way it is today, where there's nobody checking the kids. You know what I'm saying? Adult wise, with some sense with some sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's checking the kids, and they just out here doing whatever. That's the difference. I believe that's the difference. Nobody's checking these kids. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's checking these kids. And, again, you can make the excuse about the pops but not being in the home. I believe it could be just an excuse, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times the women do things to make the young men the way they are too, as well. Like, you're not putting them in an environment where he's wound a lot of testosterone. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for a young man to be around just, women all day long and estrogen. Like, you need a balance. Now, I mean, you need that balance of both. You need both. You know what I mean? We got both. Everybody has both. You need both. And if you got too much of one thing, you end up with the men that we have today, not taking out the trash, not pumping their ladies gas, not opening the doors and all that. You know what I'm saying? And not wanting to be men, like, you know what I mean? They're letting that woman do everything, you know what I'm saying? Because in their mind, they think we're all the same. because they've been raised around a bunch of women and estrogen. But again, you need both in order to have a young man that's balanced in life. And I think that's the issue. That's just my opinion. You can call me crazy or whatever, but that's just my opinion. But using the excuse that pops is not in the home and all that, you can still do things to make sure that he's a more well-rounded person. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. Right now, like I said, it's just the way that guys move today is just weird. But a lot of that can be stopped. You know what I'm saying? Women put up with a lot of crap too. You know what I mean? They put up with a lot of crap, and a lot of that stuff that men do today could be stopped by the women, because women run this show. Let's just keep it all the way efficient. Women run this show, and I'm gonna prove it to you that women run this show. When what the things that a man do, he do it for what? For a woman's attention. He buys a house for a woman's attention. He has nice things for a woman's attention. He's got a pocket full of money in his pocket for a woman's attention. You know what I'm saying? So who's really running the show? The biggest lie ever told was that men run the world, and that's not even true. Women run the world. That's a fact. That's the biggest lie told. When you go to any one of these corporations, you know what I'm saying, you will find that there's a secretary sitting there doing all the multitasking for this corporation. I mean, she's taking calls, she's booking appointments, you know what I'm saying, she's making appointments. Now, I mean, she's doing all the things this corporation need in order to run smoothly. Now, if you didn't have this lady sitting in that chair, people don't think about stuff like this. If there were no women to do those jobs, just being the secretary and all that, a lot of these corporations wouldn't be around. They would fold. Because every piece of a corporation that you place a person, especially in needed places like that, is, if you can't find that, then there's no way for the corporation to run properly. So the whole line being the efforts you were told to you men that you run this world is farce. You don't run it. Women do. And you need to come to grips with that. There's a lot of men that's probably going to hate me saying that, but look at things around you. Everything is based off a woman and her energy. Know what I mean? But again, when it comes to young men, you got to have that balance. Know what I'm saying? You got to have that testosterone around you, and you got to have the estrogen as well. You got to have the balance. And it's very important. Know what I mean? It's very important. Because if you don't, then you have, I be seeing videos of young little kids, young guys dancing like they're women. You know what I'm saying? And moving like women. And that's what happens when you don't have the balance around them. You just got nothing but estrogen and that woman energy, that female energy, that Mother Earth energy around him. That's what you're going to get. A young man who doesn't know anything but that female energy. You know what I'm saying? And then when that happens, he starts picking up the vocabulary of women. You know what I'm saying? He starts moving like a woman. You know what I mean? He starts dancing and talking, and picking up the vocabulary again. Like I said, as a woman, his thoughts and stuff like that become feminized. All that stuff happens because there was no balance. You know what I mean? And you can't really fault him if, things turn out, not the way you expect him, as far as like who he dates. You can't really fault him, you know what I'm saying? Because he's been around women all his life. He don't know no other way to operate, So, again, single mothers out there, please, make sure that you give your young son a balance. You know what I'm saying? Put him in sports, put him in karate. You know what I mean? Put him in things that's gonna it takes testosterone. you know, make them work out. You know what I'm saying? Make them play with other boys outside in the park. Something that's going to bring out that testosterone. You need the balance. You know what I mean? If you don't have the balance, then you know you got a young man who wants to be a ballerina, which is nothing wrong with that. But you know what I'm trying to say. You know the vibes. But yo, that's my take, man. I like to thank everybody for tuning into my podcast. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Please share this with everybody. I mean, help my podcast grow. But I like to thank everybody for tuning in, for the support, man. But that's my take. I am your gracious host, Jupiter 9. I just want to say peace and love to everybody. Take care. One, be safe.